I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. And yet, I ask you, is not an alien force already among us?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. Got a good one planned for you. The conversation in the green room has been fire. We decided to go ahead and hit record. With me today, the host of The Daily Dissident, Landon. Landon, how you doing, man?
What is up, Tim? What is up, this Sixth Sensory podcast people? Good to be back. We got some rather interesting Hollywood information coming down the pipeline. Some weird things going on, man, around the streets. You know, this ensuing chaos. We got a lot of different things to talk about tonight, and excited to get into them with you, Tim. Of course, we both come at this from the same perspective, so it'd be fun to kind of bounce ideas off each other. Feel the temperature of the land. This free land that we're living in here.
Yeah, I know. Is it free anymore? That might be a topic to discuss. I mean, I get it. You know, like we are free compared to most places, but are people mentally free out there? I see a lot of people with the mental bondage walking around these days, and they don't even know it. But let me say this real quick before I get carried away. This was supposed to be a roundtable, so it's no big deal. Some of the guys couldn't make it, so we're just.
It is Sunday at 7:30, 8 o'clock, Tim. We are kind of psychopaths, so we're kind of winging it. So like, there was no topic today, not necessarily.
Oh, we got plenty, but we got plenty.
Right?
Yeah. Did you say something about? You said something about Obama earlier, and I was just thinking about that, like the whole. The presidents all being related. Have you heard about this? It's pretty true. I think there was one guy, like Martin Van Buren, is the only president who's not related to all the others. They all go back to George Washington because he's the first president. So the lineage just continues from there. But I looked this up the other day. The reason why I'm bringing it up is because you said something about Obama, and it made me think about this. And Obama is very related to George Washington.
Oh yeah, and the Bushes too.
Very, yes, they're all related, but Obama is definitely very related to Washington in particular, to the point where Obama's grandmother, like it's a maternal line or something, still kept the same name as one of Washington's grandmothers, I think is the case.
Okay.
So they're all related through this guy named John Lackland, who was King of England.
Okay.
And he signed the Magna Carta.
Okay, that's where JJ gets the whole Templar thing from the Washington clan and the whole society.
Yeah, so yes, I thought about that too when I was looking through this stuff, because I've heard him. I thought about JJ. I was like, okay, this might be some of the stuff he's talking about here. So was John Lackland, was he a Templar? I need to look more into that, but I'll say this. It's a bloodline with very strong ties to the Templars.
Okay.
I wasn't sure. I wasn't able to identify him specifically as a Templar, but they were working with them. And he was born 60 years after the inception of the Templars. Like, the time frame fits. They were around, and I wouldn't say they were peaking, but if, you know, the height of the Templar sort of activities were happening during his lifetime. So, you know, I'm sure there's a story there.
Bro, with the Templars, man, I've kind of came down to this assumption, man. It's like, I don't even like labels anymore, man, because they're not Templars, you know what I mean? They're practicing magicians, bro. They're Kabbalists. You know what I mean? Like, when you start getting down in the roots and the nitty-gritty of things, man, it's like, are these guys really Freemasons? You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of like the front, I think, you know, in a sense of things. And it's like, well, they're still practicing magic on us today. You know what I mean? This whole thing is a magic show, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, we know for sure, you know, Trump was practicing Kabbalah. I mean, what was his Kabbalah teacher? What was his name? Let me find that real quick.
Yeah. Well, that's that's the thing. I won't go through my whole spiel on the order with the
Sorry, I
capital.
didn't mean to take that a little sideways there.
No, it's fine, man. I think you're right for the most part, and I think that was so the Freemasons, right? They're involved, but they are
Etienne Yardeni is his name. Sorry.
okay. That's Trump's Kabbalist teacher or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
So I think he's a part of this too. I think Trump's a part of this bloodline and related to Washington, and so I hate to tell people this, but these guys are chosen. You only get two choices because it's two guys in the bloodline.
Right.
What else? What else am I supposed to derive from all the presidents are related? It's obvious. It's a bloodline. And I think when they run these guys, like what was it, John Kerry versus George Bush, John Kerry, another bloodline family. So of course, the two options are usually bloodlines. So, and I mean, in that case, it was like Kerry and Bush went to Yale together. So it's like you're getting this Yale guy or that Yale guy.
Right. Or it's usually either Yale or Harvard. Of course,
Mhm.
you have, Clinton out of Georgetown there, but it's all mostly Ivy League school presidents, anyhow, out of these secret fraternities. You know what I mean? A lot of the Rockefellers, a lot of them are a part of it, Skull and Bones. So it's like, I don't know, Tim. It's sometimes it's a little depressing because you can see it so blatantly. It's hard to like give people the benefit of the doubt anymore, you know?
Yeah,
with,
yeah, I
with with
know.
the current times of things, and I've been really reflecting on that in the new year.
Oh yeah, we had this discussion a little bit before, and it's like you can just sort of take the temperature of the room online. You see, I won't get into it, but I'll allude to it. You see these high impact events, and you see what people have to say about it. You see people they're just typing out emotions. There's
Right.
no rational thought process happening there. There it's just pure emotions. Nobody's thinking anything through. Nobody's it's that is so disappointing to see people just I don't know, maybe or people always stupid. I guess they always were. It seems like everybody's getting a little bit dumber, but I mean, you know, I won't but the Freemason thing. So they sprung off of the same sort of trunk that the Templars did. And I've looked into this some recently, and I think that the Masons were I don't want to say foot soldiers, but lower level in the workings of things.
Right.
There's been times in history where they did big, impactful things, sure, but for the most part, I think like it with when it comes to the founding of this country, even the Masons were there, sort of taking orders. They weren't really spearheading it. I don't think.
Okay.
Now that I've seen
I think I know where you're going with this, and I was kind of
Rosicrucian
want to.
and
Well,
go ahead.
no,
What'd you think?
no, I was just thinking of Falling Angels, but I think that's kind of where they're taking some orders
Yeah.
from, or implanted orders, or blood oaths. That's why I think they do the whole bloodline thing because they got to keep that Nephilim blood pure. Cannot be cross contamination of that for some reason. I guess it would be to weaken the gene. I don't know. I'm not smart enough to tell you. I'm not a biblical philosopher on that opinion. So
Let me say something here. You're onto something because historically, the way things work is the bloodlines run the country, and the occultists stand by in the shadows and facilitate things and guide the bloodline. So I think you're onto something there. Like, so this whole thing, all the presidents are related. Clearly, that's a bloodline thing. That's the way they've always done things. They've
right,
always led. And you're right. When you trace the bloodlines back, I've said it before on here. I had a hard time with this when I found this out because I was like, this is almost too crazy to be real. But when you trace the bloodlines back, they go back to these guys like Odin or Melusine.
right. Some
These
little G gods,
some people who weren't all the way human,
sons of
apparently.
Canaan.
Yeah. Sons of Cain. Yeah, the Mark of Cain. And that one gets weird too. Mark of Cain, like Archangel Michael and Lucifer have a battle, and Michael
Is that
strikes.
Mount Hermon?
Well, this is before, I think. This is
Okay.
something I was reading about the other day. So I'm just kind of riffing, right? But Archangel Michael like takes a swing at Satan and cuts off one of the gems from his helmet or his like uh vest thing. And it's a lapis lazuli stone.
Okay.
And it falls to earth.
That's in Minecraft, by the way.
It's in a lot of legends because it's the
No, the
throne
video
room is.
game,
Yeah, yeah.
Minecraft, but
I'm
it's in the
sure
game.
I could see that, but so that's one of the things with all the asteroids, and why there's some of the bloodlines hold on to asteroids, or what's called the what is it? There's like a holy stone. It's not the Holy Grail. It's not the chalice. Anyway, I'll think about it in a minute. But anyway, so a lot of these royals get crowned on top of a box that's said to hold the lapis lazuli stone that came off of
Okay.
Lucifer's armor.
That's crazy.
That's bloodline stuff. That's what you're
Right.
talking about.
I'm with you. I'm tracking.
Yeah, you go back far enough, and there's these. How do I make this point better? These, they are the people who are practicing occultists, and they
Right.
want to keep the blood pure because the blood, they believe that the blood is not all the way human, and it gives them power. And if you go back and you look, I've seen occultists talk about this. The power to do the magic is in the blood. Like,
Right.
depending on what kind of blood you have in your body, helps you become a better magician. So yeah, I don't know.
So could that lend credence to like the whole Peter Thiel blood boy thing? Those dudes out in LA that are taking, younger blood. I mean, that's been proven, you know what I mean? That whereas that one guy looks like a vampire. I mean, maybe that I don't know, maybe that's just far fetched, but also that's very weird practicing from any human. I'll just say that.
Oh, he's weird, man. Yeah, he's odd. I've watched a couple of his interviews when I went down this technocracy rabbit hole, and I mean, it's sometimes you just don't even know what he's getting at.
Right.
I mean, sometimes his points are just that where the point he's trying to make, you're not even really sure what it is. He's out there, man. He's very out there. And like, I think when he did this lecture on the Antichrist, this series he didn't allow anybody to film it or record it. I thought that was kind of weird.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's a bloodline or not, though.
Right. I mean, it could make some sense, it would answer some things for sure. But also, this is what's messed up because I bought some Palantir stock pre-Trump getting in office because of this. I knew that he was going to get the contracts. You know what I mean? Like I was starting to read the writing on the board, and I think it was like last November maybe is when I bought it. I think I bought, I think I was buying some like $72 a share, and it's got up to like $180 a share Palantir stock. And I was like, well, I mean, this is what my words exactly. I told all my friends, they thought I was crazy, but I was like, this is the new Halliburton. I was like, this is the modern day Halliburton. So I was like, well, and then I end up selling because of moral obligations, I guess. I was not okay with that, so I did not really want to have my money tied up there.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think you did the right thing.
I mean, they are present day. Yeah, I mean, for sure. That's one of my goals this year, bro, is kind of separating myself from that, I guess you would say. As we were talking earlier, the consumerist mindset, you know what I mean? Why do you want money? To buy things to make yourself look better, appealing, but that's not, I mean, that's only physical, right? It's kind of where I'm at, bro. It's a little weird, a little wonky, but like I don't want to be a part of things of this world anymore. You know what I mean? It's never enough.
Yeah, yeah. It's never enough when your eyes start to open and you start to see how things are ran, and you have conversations, like the one we're having today, which by the way, most normal people do not have conversations like this. This is like when you start to see the world the way you do, you start to see the need to sort of distance yourself from some of these people. Because when it comes to Peter Thiel, I'm not going to call him evil, but I will say he's got nefarious plans I mean,
Oh yeah.
I think I can confidently say that.
Yeah, he's a
Uh,
son of a bitch.
yeah, I mean, man, that interview, like the one where the interviewer was doing a really good job actually, and like pushing back on him. And the interviewer asked him, do you know what I'm talking about? I'm trying to remember how they worded it. It's like he asked him,
Oh yeah, do you think humans should live or what is something about humanity and AI is like something about
well, he said,
the end of the world, right?
should humanity be preserved?
Okay,
Something
yeah.
along those lines.
Right.
Should humanity
And he
continue?
kept stuttering. Yeah.
And he paused, and the dude calls him out. He's like, "Oh, that's a really long pause." Then he calls him out again. He's like, "That's a really long
Right.
pause." And it's really kind of awkward. And then there's another moment in that interview where you can see Thiel start to get kind of uncomfortable. He looks like he's about to sweat a little bit, and it's when he said he's talking about the Antichrist in this interview, and the interviewer's like, "Well, don't you think that some would see you as the person bringing in the Antichrist?"
Right.
And you could see him kind of, and I'm doing a terrible job of like recounting what was said in this interview. Sorry about that, but people can go watch the clips of it.
I'm
And
sure everybody's seen it. They should have by now.
yeah,
Dude, that's great. You know, his lizard lids were flickering quickly. You know what I mean?
yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
Greenland, right? That's kind of
Yeah.
these
Well,
people.
you want to jump in? You want to jump into that real quick? We can.
Yeah.
So I watched. I
Let
was
me
telling you.
yeah, go ahead. I was gonna wait. Let me set it up real quick. I got something
Yeah.
before I forget. I'm gonna
Break
tell you.
break open the Thule thing too. You know what I mean? And
Okay.
then we can kind of tie it in with the movie and the
Okay.
propaganda
Remind
selling.
me. Okay, remind me to get to the Thule part in a second. So I did a show recently, and it was brought up the bell room, the ballroom, and we were joking about it in the Old Testament context that Trump was building the bell room, Baal, Baal, and that it was brought up that these guys, the big tech bros, were funding the new White House ballroom,
Right.
and I think there's kind of some deals happening behind the scenes there where it's like we'll spend all this money and we'll build you this room, Trump, if you let us build what we want to build in Greenland.
Okay.
I think that's one of the deals that's worked out. Kind of a scratch your back or I scratch my back, I scratch your back type of a thing is happening there that's involved with Greenland. And then I find that apparently the measurements of the room are the same as Solomon's temple. Have you heard
Okay.
that?
No, no, no.
Well,
I'm looking it up right now.
that made me think that made me think about Francis Bacon's New Atlantis, where the secret society in that book, who's running the utopian philosophical paradise, they're called the Order of Solomon's Temple. Thought that was an interesting little tie-in,
Okay.
perhaps. Yeah, yeah. They're the ones I think that these guys are like so in New Atlantis you've got this sort of a cult order who runs this kind of like a perfect utopian democracy sort of thing, and that's what all these guys were reading that book. George Washington and everybody read this book. America was founded by people who were inspired by this book. Well, this might be something they're trying to do with Greenland now, because all the same guys who are investing in Greenland, like Musk and Teal, they read this book too. So I think they're mapping that out. But yeah, I was just thinking about that whenever you said Greenland, and I was like, I'm going to throw this in. But what did you say about why did it come up in the first place? Did you see a movie or something?
Yeah, yeah. I went and seen the new Greenland 2 movie. So a quick synopsis. Greenland, the movie, is about this asteroid that hits like a big, huge asteroid, like the size of America hits out. I think it's in near France, somewhere in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Supposedly life is rebuilding there or what have you. But anyways, this guy goes into Greenland to an underground base. where they live out. Well, first off, everybody's getting like these like the people that get invited to this thing get like this text message from, that kind of like that 911 emergency service that you get on your phone, um, that pops up. But people were getting those, like people of government, people of prominence, things of that nature were getting this text like 2 days before, or no, the day that it happens. They're getting it to get on a military plane to go to Greenland. Everybody's flying there because there's like several underground bases there that they can live out, and then they live it out. But anyways, it showed that in this new movie that this base is actually Thule Air Force Base or Air Command, something of that nature there in Greenland. So I just found that weird of, the timing of Trump's Greenland and NATO discussions. Just found it weird, maybe a little alarming. I haven't figured that quite out yet. Yeah, it's definitely weird for sure. And I know you were talking about the Thule Society, the Nazis, so I kind of want to get into that too. I want to learn a little more about that.
Awesome. Yeah, man. I would say that that's in that movie for a reason. I mean, I don't think it's any coincidence that the movie showed bunkers and that type of a situation there, like a refuge place. If you look at, so it maybe this will tie up that whole spiel I just did a minute ago. Plato and Francis Bacon's ideas on New Atlantis remained unfinished. Okay, so Francis Bacon writes on the front of his book, it says New Atlantis, a work unfinished. Plato made similar remarks well before him, right? But this perhaps is a clue, right? These guys were clued in because they're in the order, and that's an order that would expand out to become the Thule Society eventually. So I'll come back to that. They were giving their brothers in arms clues when they said a work unfinished. New Atlantis is meant to be an unfinished work for a while. I think that's very key that we understand that. And I think you can go back to even, George Bush speeches back in like 2005 or 6, his inauguration speech. He makes some comments about this type of a thing. I'll try to find the quote in a minute, but Nostradamus said as well in the 21st century that the two major powers would become friends and unite the North Pole.
Okay, that's weird.
Yeah, and he was saying that about the 21st century. And then if you go look at some of the work of Edgar Cayce, he said that also in the 21st century to that the world powers would be doing something with the Straits of Davis. That's right next to Greenland.
Right.
And he said
that's between Canada and Greenland, right?
Yes. And he said this, something you said a minute ago reminded me of this. He said it was meant to be land set aside and land used for a very special purpose.
Okay.
All that, like all the things you told me, some of the little highlights of the movie there, I think kind of line up with that a little bit, right? In certain ways. Land that's been set aside, yeah, that's like bunker stuff for sure.
Right.
So,
dude, it's definitely weird when you consider also, with the whole New Atlantis thing. I know I mentioned before, but I've had him on my show. He's coming on again. But Ernie was talking about from the VACON, Virginia's for Conspiracy. He was talking about up there at Oak Island, how that was tying in with Templar stuff too. But also I've heard you, mention the, those copper mines there in Michigan, right? Or Minnesota, up in that area, with Phoenicians. And so like we talk about this all the time, how, our timeline isn't what they say it is. Everything's always in reverse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's some of the stuff I've been getting into lately, with, regards to Secret Destiny of America, that type of stuff. So awesome book so far. Really enjoying it.
Yeah. And when you finish that, some of the stuff will make, I mean, you already got a good grasp on it, but like some of the stuff I think I just said even might make more sense once you finish that book, because he's talking all about that. I think he even brings up the fact that I think Manly P. Hall actually says there's something to it being a work unfinished, if I'm remembering that correctly. But yeah, these tech guys, as we speak, are talking about setting up a new kind of city up there. This gets into some of Peter Thiel's research. He was looking into corporate cities. You've got that Reuters quote that I've read on here before, where it lays it all out with all the stuff they want to do up there. Basically, like an AI big tech utopia is what they're looking to set up there. A haven, a smart city,
Rockefeller C40.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, honestly, and there's the whole point with talking about the New Atlantis thing and talking about modern day Greenland is that there's something deeply prophetic in a purely occult sense about setting this up there, because this is something that they've been talking about forever. And mainly P. Hall thought the New Atlantis was America. He may have been right, but the New Atlantis, a work unfinished, may not just be America. It might be what's after America.
Right.
And America is just part of the setup for this other thing. When, if you think about the occult orders that run the world and all that. So, yeah.
I think, something that I've been pondering, I know we're talking kind of this big tech thing, Elon and the whole satellites thing, you know what I mean? What are those really, you know what I mean? Like the more I'm looking into more of the smart dust stuff, the MEMS, it's kind of seeming like those are kind of like the antennas almost, the Wi-Fi routers in a sense. I don't know. It's weird, man. It's the timing of everything's just very off right now, dude. Sometimes I feel like we're in a different timeline after COVID. You know what I mean? It definitely feels that way. Nothing seems as it was. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm interested to see what happens. And, this whole Venezuela thing, just, I won't get into it, but.
They use sound weapons, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sonic weapons.
I didn't see this one coming either, but the Venezuela thing opened up the talk for Greenland again. That hit, that got back in the news recently where they're talking about that. And if you look into it, it's like energy, AI, and all this advanced tech is all a part of this. Like all the tech. I got that quote right here. I'm going to read it. This is the Reuters quote. The vision for Greenland could include a hub for artificial intelligence, autonomous vehicles, space launches, micronuclear reactors, and high-speed rail. So it's a new world order plan.
Basically.
Yeah. It's a new world order plan. And I'll get into the whole Thule thing in a minute, but the more you look into this and you look into these people, and then, Peter Thiel has all these big investments up there, of course. Well, who does he fund for political office? He gets Vance in.
Right.
Right. And where does Vance go early on as vice president? Greenland. Yeah. And it's funny. I went and looked at those pictures again recently with him, and he's in front of that Camp Century base. It's like so obvious that that's what it is. Because I knew about Camp Century from some other research project I did, and it's very distinct looking. It looks like kind of like a white mountain, and he's standing in front of it. And none of the news stories say JD Vance at Camp Century. They just say JD Vance in Greenland. They're not telling you the details. Well, he went there for a reason, because that's the place that's called the underground city. It's been called the Ice City, City of Ice. It's got, what is it, 16,000 miles of tunnels underneath it. Some wild figure like that. So yeah, that's where he went. That place is kind of under the radar, but they're doing something with it, and they got something planned up there.
For sure.
Thule Air Base, right? You wanted to get into that?
Yeah. Thule Society, Nazi Germany.
Thule Society. Yeah. That's hold on a second, dude. Let me get some tea real quick. Thule Society. You still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. The Nazis in World War II set up a base in Greenland, northern Greenland. They called it Thule Air Base. And if you look into like the Ahnenerbe Society, which was their sort of, it was an occult society where they went and got all these explorers, scientists, and archaeologists, and they sent them out to different places in the world to look for occult ruins, artifacts, locations that have weird energy, and just anything kind of occult. They went out and looked at it, and they were sending teams up into the North Pole and the North Pole region looking for remnants of Atlantis. And we don't know why they picked that area to put their base there, but they were up there at northern Greenland, and they found something up there they liked, and they put a base there. Then, after the war, the U.S. came in and took that base and kept the name for years. They kept it. They called it Thule Air Base. And this is the thing that's interesting about it, is the Nazis called it Thule because that was their occult order that believed, part of their beliefs was they were descendants from this race of priests from Atlantis.
Okay, that's weird. So the Templars and the Nazis kind of intermingling there a little bit. You know what I mean?
Well, the Nazis took their beliefs. They took the order's belief system and like twisted it up and made it racist and all this other stuff. So it's just interesting that they named it Thule, because that's the occult order, and also that's the occult order that the Nazis were born out of. So it was Walter Neuhaus and Rudolf Bonse Bottendorf. They were in all these other occult orders, and they got together and they started the Thule Society. And the Thule Society became the German Workers' Party. And then
Which
it became
then
the
became
Nazi
Nazi Party.
So a lot of the high-ranking Nazis, or people that would become high-ranking Nazis, were part of the Thule Society. Like even Hermann Goring, who history does not remember him as one of the Germans
at all.
who was involved with the occult.
That too wasn't that the dude that was smuggling everybody in Argentina?
That was Bormann. Martin Bormann.
Okay, Martin Bormann. Okay, that's what I was thinking of.
But yeah, I'm saying, like, even Nazis who you didn't know were occultists were a part of this society. So this is something that history's totally missed. Totally missed. And I mean, because we know Rudolf Hess was an occultist. We know Himmler was.
Eichmann.
Eichmann, maybe. I don't know. I haven't looked into that one. I'm not saying he wasn't. Probably. But the other guy, his name is slipping me. But yeah. So anyway, so that's the Thule Society. And it's weird that they named this base up there Thule Air Base.
Right.
And then it's weird that the US came in and took it and kept the name for all these years. And I think they just recently changed the name and turned it into a Space Force base. But that was part of Operation High Jump, believe it or not. What the US,
Greenland?
Yeah. The US taking that base was part of Operation High Jump.
No, that's before Paperclip, right? That's
it was
41.
Well, no, Paperclip was kind of ongoing. I don't know if I'd put a date on that, but
I thought it was later 40s, when it was official, right? Like after the war officially.
Oh yeah. I'd have to look at the dates for Paperclip again. I know,
but High Jump was early on, right? I'm pretty sure. Let me look that up.
It was 1947. It was right after the war. They sent Admiral Byrd took a big fleet down to Antarctica.
Yeah. 46 to 47.
Yeah. Right. And there was all this weird lore associated with it. Like some people think that like spaceships showed up, UFOs came out and started shooting at our troops.
Right.
There was rumored Nazi base. There is a Nazi base down there. I don't know why I'm saying rumored. That's what they say. There was a Nazi base down there with some weird stuff going on. And he Byrd retreated and was missing men and planes and everything. The file is still classified. Who knows what happened? But
Right.
what they did was they sent a fleet down to Antarctica for that with Byrd. They sent a fleet up to Greenland at the same time. It was underneath Operation Paperclip, but it was called Operation Nanook.
Okay.
Nobody knows anything about this. I've never heard anybody talk about this. It's always overlooked. Nanook goes up to Greenland and takes this base. I don't know if there was a show of force. I don't know if the Germans had abandoned it. We don't get a lot of
Any detail?
indication, yeah, that there was any kind of a scuffle. There was definitely a scuffle in Antarctica. For years, the rhetoric around this has been a secret weapons base with high technology.
Back engineered Nazi tech, right?
Right. For sure at Antarctica. But I'm saying that, like I said, it's been overlooked. The Thule Air Base, but something was going on with that too. Just the fact that they named it Thule, and
Right.
that was their religious. That was like a religious society for them that believed that their ancestors came from North Greenland, essentially.
Right.
So they named it that for a reason. They must have found something up there.
Yeah, dude, that's weird though, for sure. Like you're saying, like Operation High Jump, everybody's heard of it, but nobody's heard of Nanook. So maybe that's part of it, Tim. Maybe High Jump's this story, right? This Paul Bunyan-esque story, and the real story's in Greenland. You know what I mean? Like that's how those operations work usually. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you think about it, you're not.
No, go ahead. Finish.
No, I was just saying, that's just kind of, well, I mean, lends back to the Templars and their way of hiding things, right? It's only up is down, down is up. You know what I mean? Like nothing is ever as it seems. The CIA's for certainly done that, right hand, left hand path stuff.
I think there's something at these locations because, like we've discussed today, the plans for Greenland involve big tech, high technology, the tip of the peak of human advancement. It may just be one of those locations that's been associated with that type of high technology for a very long time. Same for Antarctica. I mean, they've got that place blocked off.
Right, you can't go there.
All these people, all these different countries have all agreed, like, okay, yeah, we won't let the people of the world come down here and see this. We all
Right.
agree. They all agree.
It's a pact.
Yeah, it's a pact, and don't get it twisted. Like that's a pact that was formed out of Washington D.C. We led the charge on that one. Like all these other countries agreed, air quotes. It's probably because we made them agree. We're like, listen, this is how it's going to be. If you guys want your little chunk of Antarctica, you should, get in on this, and we got to keep it top secret. So I also think that some of the other countries knew what was going on down there too, and it's just been held and kept from the people. And I think this is the same thing for Greenland. I think they found something up there and they're just not telling us about it. And Operation High Jump was such a big distraction that they didn't even have to psyop it,
Right.
or whatever. Maybe that's not the best way to put it, but they, yeah, you know what I'm saying. So, but something happened down there in Antarctica for sure. But I don't know. Like, what do you think? Did the movie? I don't know.
No, other than that, no, it was more of just, your regular doomsday type of scenario, kind of. They were saying that life was coming back in the crater, so maybe some type of, symbology there. I don't know exactly. Just thought it was odd seeing the Thule Air Base along with that.
It is odd. It's odd that they put that in that movie, but military.
And most people wouldn't think 2 seconds about that, Tim. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't come across anybody's brain. Maybe not. I don't know. I just wouldn't think so. You know what I mean? It's just kind of randomly put there. And only kind of if you know, you know. And I didn't really know about it until you just told me. I know you've mentioned it before in a couple podcasts, but yeah, so that's kind of what put me onto it a little bit. I would have probably just been like, oh, okay, you know what I mean? Just an air, just probably some underground base. But no, you're telling me it's more religious, more technological than just that.
Hmm.
Maybe plans of the new Atlantis. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm looking for this stuff that I found the other day, or I dug it up again. They use, they tell us stuff in these movies. I know I've said that before, but like they also get military guys to tell us stuff in these movies, like movies like Top Gun and stuff like that. But I was looking into this Leonard Nimoy guy, the guy from Star Trek. And a lot of people would know him from, he did a series where about mysteries. I forget what they call it. Uh, it was really popular back in the day, but there's this CIA documentary that I saw one time years ago, and it had him in it, and it's been scrubbed from the internet. I can't find it. So I thought that was weird. So I looked into him. I'm like, Leonard In Search Of. So Leonard Nimoy was kind of famous for doing this series called In Search Of, where he went out and like talked about Bigfoot and stuff. Well, I thought it was weird that I saw this CIA documentary with him in it, and now it's gone. So I looked into him, and he was in the army. Yeah, they made him an actor. He's some sort of a CIA actor type. Because so here's the deal: he was in Special Secret Services Division. The Pentagon created the group in 1940 to serve as the military's entertainment branch.
Okay.
Basically, it was actors, musicians, and writers that were used for propaganda. So, and this goes kind of deep. So, Clint Eastwood was
Free
part of this.
free country, right, Tim?
Right, right. Dick Van Dyke was a part of this. Sammy Davis, just to name a few. They were all in the Secret Services division.
That Laurel Canyon 1.0, baby.
Right. And it gets a little, I don't know, the records. So I wasn't able to find a whole lot out about Nimoy from there because a fire supposedly destroyed his service records in 1973. So
Convenient.
so it says online that much of the information about his service is lost because of this
Right.
fire. But we know in 1954 he would get into the Secret Service branch, and then he'd go on to do these military inspired roles on TV and in movies. And 1953 and 54 is when they really started doing movies in Laurel Canyon. Lookout Mountain.
Okay. Right. When was
You know what I'm
Lookout Mountain
saying?
Labs built? That would be interesting to know.
Uh,
Let me look that up. Let me look that up.
yeah, look it up, bro.
I'll be the Jamie of the podcast today, okay?
Okay, but I'll tell
Okay.
you this because I know this. I
He
know
said,
that
okay.
in 1954, that's when they invested a ton of money into the place. It was already there.
Uh-huh.
I want to say it was there in the 40s.
Bro, your dams too, right? That ties in with the 50s. A lot of the dams were being rolled out in the 50s too, right?
We
What's
saw
the
the
Corps of
30s.
Engineers?
It was in the 30s when they were doing
Oh.
some of that too. No, it was 30s and 70s, I think, is when we
But
saw.
when did the president pass the act for the
Oh, that was New Deal. That
was
was
that
Roosevelt.
Eisenhower? I thought
Roosevelt.
Eisenhower passed one with it too, right? That's 50s.
Eisenhower
Right.
was Eisenhower was in president in 1954. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
he's the guy that rolled out a lot of this spook stuff.
Shocker.
And it's still going today. Like the president has, Obama has a deal with Netflix, so nothing's really changed there.
1941. The studio was established in 47.
Yep, it was started in I guess it was 1947. Yeah, And then
Yeah.
in the 1953 and 54, they pumped a bunch of money into it, put in all new, brand new state of the art equipment for making movies. And that's when they filmed thousands of movies there.
Dude, I was just like, deep diving into some California stuff. California's nuts with military industrial complex. Like don't let the communists um you know a lot of these dudes out in Cali, they're making weapons. You know what I mean? A lot of these dudes are part of the defense contractors. You have Lockheed out there, you have Reconnaissuto out there during the Cabazon Indian Ranch, China Lake. Um, Crazy stuff, man.
So Nimoy probably made some of his movies out here at this place. Here, I pulled it up. In 1954, a brand new government-owned facility for making movies was built on Lookout Mountain. So they already had a building up there, but I think they built a bigger building. It's owned by Jared Leto today, the big Hollywood actor.
Uh-huh. An occultist.
In 54, this is what I'm talking about right here. In 54, they installed new motion picture processing equipment, humidity controlled film vaults, editing and screen rooms, a processing lab, and a sound stage. So it was owned by the Air Force, funded by the Department of Energy, and used by the CIA. A lot of shady.
Okay, that's
They had been making movies at the location, but in 54, they stepped it up with the new equipment and everything. Oh, and a lot of those atomic bomb films that are just cheesy to watch today, it's obvious that they're fake. They filmed
yeah.
there,
Where the camera doesn't move after the nuclear bomb goes off.
Right. They say it was closed down around 1970, but I don't know. I don't know what happened at that point. Apparently even Marilyn Monroe was up in there making movies at this place. They said that 20,000 classified motion pictures were made. Classified motion pictures. That is so shady.
So basically all the movies ever created.
20,000, bro. What do you think happened to those? Probably commercials.
Oh yeah, ad creatives.
Yeah.
All kinds of things, man. It's definitely dark,
Yeah, they may have been making some of the movies up there too that we watch. I don't know. But 20,000 classified motion pictures is just somebody's having to watch it. They were doing something with it. Bureau of Motion Pictures is another one. That was I think that was rolled out under Eisenhower as well. It's a government agency in Hollywood called the Bureau of Motion Pictures. What they were doing was they were reviewing scripts. So they were kind of putting a stamp of approval on the scripts before they became
the movies.
Yeah.
Right.
And they reviewed, up to 2,000 scripts that we know of. And this was ran under the Office of War Information. And guess who was in charge of it? Milton Stover Eisenhower, President Eisenhower's brother and advisor.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So they have these like very Manila names, right? It's called the Office of War Information. It's like,
okay, psyops to mind war there.
Yeah. Office of War Information, like, just titled that way so it's overlooked, like purposefully overlooked, or purposely titled so it's overlooked. So Eisenhower's brother's in charge, Bureau of Motion Pictures. They're involved with the Hollywood movies. I mean, I think the whole thing was like to make America propaganda, make Americans believe what they want them to believe, make them think the government is doing what's best for them and for the world.
Right.
Because 1954, I mean, we were running all kinds of side wars out of 54. Like you had, they took Iran in 54. They took Guatemala in 54. Uh, they killed one of the guys in Africa, Mumbai, or I'll have to look it up. There was a lot of like little secret, or not secret, but CIA wars happening in 54 underneath Eisenhower, because Dulles was in the CIA at the time.
Right.
So
Yeah, that's weird. So you've been kind of going down that trek for a little bit now?
No, I just looked up some of my notes on some of this stuff from back in
Okay.
the day.
Um,
Here's a quote from Elmer Davis. The easiest way to inject propaganda into people's minds is to let it go through the medium of entertainment when they do not realize that they were being propagandized.
that's creepy, bro.
And then you got the DOD. The DOD is involved with making movies today, Department of Defense. There's a whole list. I'll see if I can find it in a minute, but there's a whole list of movies that the DOD help fund and make. It's under military and entertainment complex on Wikipedia, if it's still there. I'll see if I can pull it up.
Yeah,
You
that's
got anything?
crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. It seemed like we were going down that road, so I just started adding all this stuff in.
No, I got some notes here we can pull up. Kind of been running some thoughts. Can we take a quick break for 1 second? We'll grab some water and use the bathroom.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, man. I think I found it here. I'm going to show you this Wikipedia real quick. So the reason why I have all this information is because I was wanting to write up a documentary on 1954.
Okay.
Because you had Eisenhower in office. You had the Dulles brothers in office. One was in office, one was head of the CIA. And you had it was almost like a rise of the deep state. They really, really brought in the deep state. Not saying it wasn't around before that, but I mean, it got powered up big time in the 50s and 54. And I was wanting to lay all that out, but here's the military entertainment complex that I'm talking about. This is up on Wikipedia. This is one of the few Wikipedia articles that I like. Feel like it's pretty legit, you know. Cooperation between militaries and entertainment industries to their mutual benefit, especially in fields such as cinema, multimedia, and virtual reality. During World War II, the United States sought to use entertainment as a form of propaganda. In 1943, the OSS, Office of Strategic Services, precursor to the CIA, circulated a memo stating, cinema is one of the most powerful propaganda weapons at the disposal of the United States, and recommended the voluntary cooperation of all motion agencies not under control of the GIS. Anyways, there's that Elmer Davis quote right there, actually. So in 53, I didn't know they had stuff up here on 53. Dwight D. Eisenhower declared, yeah, I remember this. He said the hand of government must be carefully concealed, and in some cases, I should say, wholly eliminated. Like concealing the hidden hand in movies, you know.
Subliminal messaging.
All of it. All of it. Now check this. Let me see if I can find. Look at this list of movies, man. That had, this is that script approval we were talking about.
Red Dawn.
Department of Defense script approval. And also, they help fund some of these movies too. Like,
Oh yeah,
they're
your money.
in the credits.
So think of that. Your tax dollars going against you to propagandize yourself. Let that sink in.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And we're supposed to trust these people, Tim?
Right.
You know what I mean?
I know.
They're a joke.
Look at this, dude. Air Force One, Apollo 13, Armageddon, A Time to Kill, Batman and Robin. Let's see, Battleground, Battleship, Battle Los Angeles, Battle Station,
Battle LA.
Behind Enemy Lines,
Black Hawk Down.
Black Hawk Down. Yeah. I'm just going. There's a lot more here for people listening. I'm just naming out some that come to mind that I've seen, like Captain Marvel, Clear and Present Danger. I remember that one. Contact.
But that's an alien movie, right?
That's Jodie Foster, and Carl Sagan wrote the script for it.
Okay.
So this was like a
Captain
joint effort.
Phillips? Bro, what's up with this whole why do they hate Somalians? I'm confused. Black Hawk Down, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Captain Phillips.
Day After Tomorrow.
Have you seen the memes? It says, "Look at me, I'm the daycare owner now."
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah,
Enemy
I mean,
Below.
this is just Flying Tigers. Let me see. Green Miller.
Godzilla? What?
Godzilla, yeah. The one in 98 and 2014.
Both.
Yeah, because think about it, man. Those are like kind of pro-military films. They make the military, they ensure people's sort of hope in the
Right,
military
yeah.
industrial complex. They show America's, power. We send in all these. I don't know, some of these movies do that at least.
Bro, all of them do. There's no good movies anymore. There's no originality left.
Look at this, man. This list still goes.
Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Yeah, I thought that was a weird one. That's the one I didn't really care for either.
Iron Man. That's weird. Iron Man.
Yeah, both of them.
I Am Legend. What?
Yeah, look. James Bond, all the James Bond movies. Goldfinger, Thunderball, License to Kill, GoldenEye, and Tomorrow Never Dies.
King Kong.
Jurassic Park. So, I mean, the list is still going, right? This is
Midway. That was that's a recent one.
Mm-hmm. So there's subliminal stuff in all these movies too.
Pet Cemetery. That's creepy.
Some of the messaging is very dialed in to
The Silence of the Lambs.
To the subconscious. What? Yeah, Star Trek, Voyage Home. That look. I bet you that's Leonard Nimoy in this one.
Okay.
Let me see.
Yeah, that's him right there, ain't it?
Yeah, look, it says second film directed by Leonard Nimoy. Look at that. Yep. See, who knows how many of these people are involved in this? They own the actors, bro. They owned this guy. They made this guy. He has a career because of them. Look, he's freaking Spock, dude.
Cough, cough. Joe Rogan.
CIA Spock.
They're doing it with podcasts, Tim. We see it daily, man.
This list is still going, bro. Top Gun,
Transformers.
All of the Transformers.
There's your cube of Saturn there with Transformers. Black cube of Saturn. Saturn worship.
Top Gun Maverick for sure was one of those, hoorah, gung ho, America. Mm-hmm. And like before, early in the list, it said, what's the name of the movie? Is it Apollo 13? Oh, no, Armageddon, where they send the Americans go up and blast the asteroid out of space and they save Earth. You don't think about it, but these are very pro-American, a military-industrial complex scenarios.
Right. You got Twister there too, Yeah. That's your weather modification area of research.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman.
Yep. So there's subliminal messages in all these movies that we would
United 93.
We would have to go through with a comb, a fine-tooth comb, if you will, and find all the little nuanced messages in these movies, right? But they're there. That's why they're involved with this in the first place. This is all programming. This is how you program Americans. You you own the actors themselves. You got all the the T's crossed. There's that Zero Dark 30 film, and it says here that was a CIA collaboration, which, if I remember correctly, they were sort of telling the narrative with this one of how I think they went in and killed a terrorist.
No, Zero Dark 30. That's the Bin Laden one, I think.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that this is like their narrative of how they went in and got bin Laden. I think. Yeah, yeah. Because I saw this, and I mean, there's a lot more to that bin Laden thing. Yeah, there it is. The film dramatizes the nearly decade-long international manhunt for Osama bin Laden, leader of Al Qaeda.
Can I pull something up regarding that?
Yeah, I'll stop share. Hold up, bro.
Yeah. Let's.
I don't. So I think when okay, so I went back and I watched that movie a while back.
Mm-hmm.
And well, first of all, do you remember how it was said multiple times that they got bin Laden? Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah. They had him.
Okay.
Bush had him in '06, I think.
And then
Right?
it kept coming out that we really got him this time. And then they come out later and say we just got bin Laden.
Supposedly they used Palantir tech to actually find him.
Yeah, but there's like this weird Mandela effect thing happening there where
Okay.
they kept saying in the news that they got bin Laden, and some people were like, "Wait, I thought we already had him."
Yeah, let me.
That's why I
make
don't
sure
think
this is it.
I don't think that movie is accurate, because supposedly we got him 5 different times. So which time did we actually get him? Is what I'm saying. But
Yeah, it's
anyways,
weird, bro. It's super weird. I'm looking for this.
yeah. What are you looking for?
It's just pertaining to Osama bin Laden that he's not who everyone says he is. Let me see this. Yeah, man, it's definitely it's so weird. Like, I just think it's messed up that they're using your own tax dollars to fund it against you.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty messed up, man.
Well, it's and you get in and you sit down and you watch one of these movies, and they get you sort of patriotic too. They get you like, wow, we're the most powerful military on earth. Damn it,
Right.
nobody can mess with us. We're the greatest. We go out and we give people freedom and all this and that. It's like like in the Top Gun movie, where in that opening scene for Maverick, Tom Cruise pacing around, like he wasn't pacing, actually. He was kind of like walking through a hallway on his way to get on this jet. And, Highway to the Danger Zone comes on like an anthem.
Oh yeah, I know, dude.
And
It's so
they pump it all the way up.
Top
In the
Gun.
twilight, spreading out of wings tonight. Tom Cruise walking through like this red lit corridor in like a spacesuit, like he's about to just do the most American stuff ever. And he gets on this plane that was rumored to not be a real plane. They revealed this plane in the movie. I think it was an SR-71. And because when that movie came out, all the plane geeks were like, "See, we told you this was real."
Right.
It was, because what it is like they've got planes way more advanced now than that, so they didn't care. Like, all right, just show it in the movie. Like people technically that plane didn't exist until they showed it in the movie.
Right.
What you got?
Definitely weird. So This is Osama bin Laden and Tim Osman,
Yeah.
two of the same people here. Have you seen any of this?
No, show me, man.
Dude, this gets deep because this ties into my whole Riconosciuto, Danny Casolaro, the Octopus Promise software. Some real weird stuff for sure, that I love. But anyways, this is Tim Osman. Here's a CIA document pretty much proving that this was Tim Osman. There it is, Tim Osman and Ralph Olberg. Um, there's actually Riconosciuto here, which was this is where they back engineered the promise through some various means, but we won't have to go there today. But anyways, Riconosciuto is talking about actually meeting up with Tim Osman over there, I think in Iran, actually, way before any of the stuff that went down in like 91. But he also, I was trying to find the actual muckrake FOIA on Riconosciuto because specifically, I think Riconosciuto was testifying that like it's on record that he was telling everyone that there was going to be a 9/11 event perpetrated by a guy by the name of Tim Osman, like in 93 or 94, bro. And that's some really dark stuff. But also you got to take it from a grain of salt too, because there's some disinfo there that Riconosciuto spits out too. But he also spits out some things that are provable. He's definitely tied in for sure. But I mean, I think this is kind of the similar stuff that Danny Casolaro was going after he got offed. I'll see if I can't find that muckrake. I'll stop here and then I'll kick it back to you and I'll look it up.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was just an op from the beginning. It's a rich family. The Bin Ladens, what was it? They were having dinner. Some of the Bin Ladens were having dinner with the Bushes the night before September 11th, I think. Have you heard that one?
No.
No. You ever seen the family or the family picture of the Bin Ladens?
No. I
I'll
have
show
not.
you. I'll see if I can find it. I mean, because let me tell you, they don't look like terrorists. They look like just, it's like a wealthy family. So he got mixed up in the CIA and they got him. He was some sort of a Oswald type, if you ask me, being used. Let's see, I'm pulling this up right now. Here's the Bin Laden family picture.
Check that out. In Sweden in 71.
Yeah. Yeah, they were hanging out in Sweden, dude. That's where terrorists hang out, bro. You know that?
Right. Yeah, they definitely like don't have money or anything like that.
Right. Right. Oh my gosh, dude. Can I just see the picture? Yeah, but here it is. Let me see if I can get it bigger. It looks like a sitcom, bro. They look like the nicest family. This like I would want to like go over to dinner and have dinner with these people. And
They
just
kind of look like
hang out.
hippies a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Got a
Well,
little
that's 'cause,
hippie vibe going on.
well, this was the 70s, I think. Look, the clothing is from the 70s, but it's nice. It's dressed up. It's
Right.
dressed up. It's not like see they wear those big ties like that.
Yeah.
They just look like nice people who have money.
Right.
He's in this picture somewhere too. But yeah, there's the Bin Ladens for you. Yeah, but you see how they spin this to the American people. This guy was some militant terrorist out in the desert. I'm sure. I mean, dude, I'm sure some people out there listening to this are just going to be like, they're still buying it. They're still drinking the Kool-Aid that this guy was a terrorist. Somebody's going to get mad at me for this. Born in 57. So yeah, there you go, Bin Laden. Edward Bernays, another one. Um, he was around in 1954 as well. He
Right.
was
That's the grandfather of the guy who owns Netflix, right?
he was the uncle,
Bernays'
something like
uncle,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, they were related. Yeah,
And Bernays is heavily tied in with what's his name? The dude from Sweden. Sweden or one of those countries. What's his name? He was a psychologist. Um,
oh,
you know
Freud,
it.
Sigmund
Yeah,
Freud.
Sigmund Freud, right? Yeah, him and Sigmund Freud were boys,
They
which
were related.
I found that very odd too. You know, you kind
Yeah.
of get this Sigmund Freud as like this ultra super genius. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
From most of the psychology world, he's a legend. But who is he really, and what's his real agenda? You know what I mean? Why is he? I got questions. You know?
Hmm. Yeah. So it's Sigmund Freud is related to Ed Bernays, and then they're collectively together. They're related to the guy who started Netflix, and he's the guy who's backed out and is a silent partner now. There's another guy who's like the face of the company now, but there's
Right.
two people who started it, and one of them is related to Ed Bernays. Ed Bernays was helping Eisenhower and Allen Dulles with basically with overthrowing Guatemala, the Guatemala coup of 53 or 54. And Bernays was also, he's a propagandist. He wrote a book literally called Propaganda too. And he's the reason why we eat bacon for breakfast. All kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah, bro. That's the whole Kellogg's conspiracy thing, right? With the whole grain sort of ordeal. Is that
Yeah.
right?
I think that's a part of it. I think so.
And General Mills was in on that, I think.
Yeah. But Bernays was funded by the Vanderbilts as well.
Shocker.
And he was funded by the Rockefellers. So they had him writing up positive reviews for their businesses. That crazy, we hear about this happening today with like Yelp reviews, like
Yeah.
businesses will hire people to get in there and you know leave them good reviews. Well, the original version of that was Ed Bernays, and I think like it was like rich people like this were doing it. It wasn't. I don't know if it was every single business, but for sure it was Vanderbilts and Rockefellers because they had the network and the means and the money to do it. And this guy was doing that for them, propping up their businesses. He was employed with the government. Um, he was on the committee on public information, another one of those like sneaky propaganda agencies, like the one I read earlier, very Manila title, Bureau of War Information or whatever it is. Um, so he was basically, they were using Bernays to get American people to side with the wars that they wanted them, whatever side they wanted them on. They were using him to put them there.
Right.
So he was.
I can't find that document.
He was responsible for men. They say he's responsible for men wearing watches as well.
Oh, wow.
That
Huh.
was something that was rolled out on everybody. Men didn't
Interesting.
wear watches, and I think it was only women for a very long time. And it was some scheme that they had to. They wanted to make more money. They wanted to sell more watches, so they're like, we got to figure out a way to get men to wear their watches. So they brought in Edward Bernays, and
Right.
now you go out in public, and all the guys have watches on. Like it worked. It really worked.
Right.
Oh, he was behind the women smoking in public too. Like that was a big thing back in the day. Like you see all these old, like you see like the lady in the martini glass smoking a cigarette. This was in all the magazines. They'd always show these like women smoking cigarettes, making it look elegant and
Cool, right? Yeah.
yeah. He was behind a lot of that. Um, so yeah, industries were built on these concepts, and he was like kind of like a mastermind to it all.
Nice. I know you were talking earlier, you were saying you wanted to mention some more of the Kirk thing. Did you want to get into any of that tonight or?
Oh, I don't know. What did I say? We can. I don't remember what I
I
said.
thought I thought I remember you saying that you were something about the whole Charlie Kirk thing that you were wanting to talk about.
Uh, No, I
Or
don't think
maybe
so.
that you
Not
did, or maybe
necessarily.
that you didn't.
Yeah, I don't remember what I said exactly. Oh, I think what I was saying was that you remember when it happened, I didn't want to talk about it. I just
Right.
didn't want to go there. It was too polarizing. Uh, you know, when it's fresh like that, every other podcast was talking about it, and I mean,
Yep.
whatever.
We felt the same sentiment there.
Yeah, yeah.
That's for sure.
I just didn't feel the need to do it, to talk about it. But when we did talk about it finally, which was on that round table, I think that was a good time because we waited a while and we talked
Yeah,
about
that's
it.
2 months out, 3 months out on that. So
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, man.
Yeah, this has been good, dude. What do you
Yeah,
think
just a
about
little
Go
Sunday
ahead.
night, little
Mhm.
Sunday night round table here with me and Tim.
Yeah, yeah. What do you think about this year though, man? Like it's
2026, dude,
it's
I'm
getting
excited.
it's getting wild already.
Yeah, man, that's the exciting part, right? They got to turn up that. They got to turn. This is the way I. This is how I perceive it because I'm a kind of glass half full empty, glass half full, not a half empty guy.
Yeah.
Um, dude, I think they got to turn up this temperature a little bit because the psyops suck. Like, I think they need like some real trajectory there in Lookout Mountain Labs. You know what I mean? Over there in Rogan's Canyon, like these psyops, they've been getting terrible, bro. Like this not they're not even spinning it good anymore. You know what I mean? Like I don't know, bro. It's the state of where we're at because most of the stuff I'm looking at, dude, just like I'm looking at 80, 80s, 70s, kind of that era, 90s, like CIA documents, things of that nature, and like people are talking about, Somalians or whatever. I'm like, dude, what the like how did nobody pick up on this? You know what I mean? Like that's more interesting to me. Because it's like, I don't know, man. Like you said, everything's so polarizing. I think it's purposeful. I think they're playing on human emotion. I don't think it's right. And also, I don't really believe, I mean, I know I mentioned this earlier, but like my more anarcho ways are kind of creeping in. Like, I don't even like, I don't think man should have the right to govern anyhow. Like, I don't believe in that. So I don't know. That's kind of how I've been feeling lately, Tim. But I'm excited for 2026, bro. It's going to be a good year. I swear. It's going to be a really good year.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like I hear you when you say that, and I don't think that we should be governed to the max like we are. I think we should have an opportunity to opt out.
Yeah, I'm
And
a
I
little more
just,
radical, but that's okay.
that's okay. I mean, that's your opinion, bro. You're good to have it and hold it, but I just we I wish we had a little bit more true freedom that was attainable to us because I'm not feeling too free. I don't know about you, but
Right.
it's just a lot like it, and it starts at birth. And that's the whole thing, like us being plugged into this matrix. It starts at birth, and they have us
Consuming,
socially.
consuming, consuming, Tim.
So that's a better way to go. It's you're put into this consumerist cycle, and because you go to school where you learn how to sort of
The
live.
Rockefeller indoctrination camps.
Yeah, the schools are getting you ready for the workforce,
Yep.
or they're getting you ready for college, which is more indoctrination, and then the workforce.
Right.
That's the whole thing. Like I remember teachers early on, teachers in school being like, "What do you want to do when you grow up? You need to think about what you want to do. What you want to do when you grow up. Think about it." And the whole thing is to spit you out into this workforce because the rich people go to different schools and
They
they
get a
learn
different
different
set of
things.
cards.
Yeah, and they also get different teachers. They get like private teachers and some of the rich kids.
Kabbalah teachers.
Yeah, yeah. Like they're set to run things. They're not going to the same indoctrination classes that we are. We're
Right.
we're we're set up to be ruled over. They're given the tools to reign.
And I
I mean,
and I feel and you're right, man, because that's the angst that I think a lot of people are feeling is that they're not doing what they're meant to be doing. they're doing to get by, and I'm guilty of it too. I'm trying to break of that, but it comes to a point, man, where it's like, what do you really want? You know what I mean? What are you really in search for? Because, if money's not, that's not what you're in search of. I know, at least for me, it's not. That's not my sole purpose on this earth. You know what I mean? I don't I don't want to tie like my beliefs or my morals or my uh perception, I guess, into, that frame of thought. Like, I think that's part of the trick, man, that's been played over us all, is they got us wanting more money to consume, to give them more power to rule over you and, make certain decisions about your freedoms. I think that's a big part of this, Tim, man. And it's scary because it's like, how was I like 23, 22 years old when I figured that out? You know what I mean? Like, there's people that are 60 years old that are still buying this stuff, man. That's the scary part, you know?
Mm-hmm. And most people's idea, again, and I think this is programming, but the idea most people have about making more money is to uh, deeply or deeper insert themselves into the system, into the workforce. You want more money?
It's
Or
true.
well, you need to work more, or you need to
Take
work
take
harder
on more
at your
debt.
job. Work harder at your job so you can move up at your job. Then you get the raise. That's how I think a lot of normal people, that's their idea of making more money, is embedding themselves deeper into the system and spending more time in the system and trying to move up in the system. But if you look at people who make big money, a lot of them figured out a way to do it outside of the system. They
Right.
invented something or they started a business or whatever. But I think, I just like, again, I mean, I could probably sit down and think this through and speak it out a little better if I was to like put all my thoughts in order. But, you know, it's I think it does come down to this programming stuff. There's very much this, military. No, it's like the industrial revolution that got everybody into this 9 to 5. I've talked about this
Rat
before.
race.
Yeah. But yeah, man, for sure.
Dude. Yeah, man. I mean, I think these are good topics to talk about because it affects you daily too, you know what I mean? And your biggest weapon, and this is where I differ with some people. The human's biggest weapon against anything is their brain. You know what I mean? But you can't have your brain taking on outside opinions, outside influence. You really gotta like put the blinders on and like really dig deep to find out what you want. You know what I mean? Or what you want to be. And maybe you're asking God for that guidance or things of that nature. But also it's like, I don't know. I'm trying to put this um
Yeah, I'm
I
with you,
don't know.
man.
Yeah, man, it's just like you said, the indoctrination is just so deep, man. Like, it took me a
Mhm.
while to kind of break out of that, and like I still, struggle with it. I mean, I'm sure anyone does, and I'm not saying like I'm totally free of it. Of course not. But I'm trying to do better. I'm trying to, be conscious of those things, and not really fall into that trap anymore. Like,
Mhm.
uh,
Well, you
we
have to,
don't need it. We don't need any of this, Tim. None of this stuff. None of this stuff we don't need of man. That's my main point of 2026. None of this stuff
Mhm.
and my goals are simple, man. I want more relationships, with you, people of our nature and more things of that nature. More, I want to listen more. I say things before I talk or emotionally. You know what I mean? Those are things like I don't know. That's just kind of me being, self-aware, I guess, to an extent.
Yeah, I think it's like I feel you on a lot of this. Like I want the spiritual fulfillment,
Yeah.
and you don't get that with chasing after money.
You can't buy it.
Can't buy it. It's I've talked about it before. Like there's some wealthy people that live down the street from me. They have the brand new house and the boat. They have they're just, you could tell they're
Right.
very materialist people, and they're just not happy. They're just stuck in their 9 to 5. They're stuck in that rat race, trying to keep up with the Joneses, so to speak. And I'd rather have none of that. I don't need a boat, first of all. I mean, they'd be kind of cool, I guess, but I don't need a
Right.
boat and a jet ski and a motorcycle and the newest truck and the newest house in the neighborhood, etc.
Right.
That some people need that, or they think they need that, and that's what consumes them, consumes their drive in life.
Right.
And I'm with you, man. I don't need any of that. It's not about that at all. It's about, I think, spiritual and intellectual fulfillment. And by intellectual, I mean, the pursuit of knowledge.
For sure.
That's why
Well
I'm trying to
said,
do
man.
this. That's why I'm trying to do this, man. I'm uprooting myself from the matrix. And part of doing that is like this podcast. Because I want to turn this into
Right. You want to
my,
do this to do it, you know what I mean? For a
yeah,
living.
yeah. Yeah.
Whether, and, I don't think there's anything, I know, early on kind of, I had some thoughts about it, but man, I feel like people, like, that's the whole thing with the whole free will. Like, that's one thing I need to work on more of. I know this is kind of like a weird podcast, end of a podcast. We're kind of getting a little bit vulnerable here, but that's one thing I need to work on, is worrying too much about what other people are doing. You know what I mean? Trying to separate myself from that. I think
Mhm.
it's some things I can work on. Because, it's very easy to do. They say comparison is the thief of joy.
Mhm.
Um, and it's very true, man. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't ever think it's going to be enough without you. You got to have love somewhere in your heart. You know what I mean? Like, you got to love what you're doing, who you're doing it with, the things you're talking about. Like, I think those things are very evident when someone does speak, like, and it's so rare these days because we get this facade of, like you said, the keeping up with the Joneses, the fakeness of social media, like this alternate reality that really wasn't there a couple, 20, 30 years ago. Right. So that's just some things to think about. I've been thinking about them a lot lately, actually. Um, Trying to kill my ego, I guess, in a sense. Everyone's got one. No one likes to admit they have one. You know what I mean? Everyone does. And this is
It's
not like no ayahuasca ego death thing. Like, I'm not doing none of that. Like,
right. Right. Well, the acknowledgement of the ego, it's a good step to take in the right direction.
for
Yes,
sure.
everybody has an ego. So by acknowledging your ego, you're able to keep it in check. That would be the idea. That would be the thing worth pursuing. Ego check. I like that, man. I like that. And you're right. You don't want to compare yourself to other people. There's a difference between looking up to somebody and comparing yourself, and I know that you know that, but with the comparisons, you want to stay away from that because that distracts you from your true purpose. Why, if you're worried about somebody who sits around and compares themselves to somebody daily is in a sort of a toxic mind state, and
Yeah.
it's distracting them because you should be focused on what you're trying to do for you and trying to get, how you're going to get on
From
the
point A to
level. And
point B.
yeah, from point B, yeah, for sure. I was trying to keep it out of like the corporate language. I was trying not to say like another rung on the ladder, right? Because you do want to climb up, you do want to ascend in life, but you don't want to get stuck in a rat race. But yeah, I think comparison is just a distraction for your true purpose. I really do, man. I think eating, the way you eat, what you consume, right? Like there's what you eat and there's what you consume, and I think they're both important. It's like what you put in is going to reflect what you put out.
Right.
And I'm not trying to sound like a spiritual guru over here
Right.
or anything, but I do believe that. I mean, man, when I stopped drinking, when I changed my diet around and started eating like real food, I mean, I took control of what I ate. I started like making my own food. Like I cook all my own food, man. Still, I've been
Right.
doing it for years. And by doing that, I'm in control, more in control of the ingredients that I'm putting in my body. And I'm not putting in all this other crap.
Toxic chemicals.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's a whole nother show, right? Like poisoning of the food. So there's so many little things you could do. And I think people get overwhelmed and they don't think that change is attainable because you do kind of have to, it takes a lot to sort of unplug from this matrix. It takes a lot of commitment. And you can't do it overnight. You just got to do, all right, this week I work on this, tackle it. Next month, maybe I work on this and tackle that. You've got to, and you know, like you said, man, those comparisons will kill you. They'll slow you down. So
For sure.
yeah, I'll cap it off with that. So
Yeah, man.
like getting to, I don't know.
No, you're good, bro. That was good. That was a good
Life.
show, man.
Yeah, that was fun, bro. It was good talking.
Yeah, dude, but I think it's good to talk about, man, though, you know,
Oh, yeah.
2026, new year, you know, trying to, I don't know. I think you always should be trying to improve yourself. I don't think you should ever stop, whether it be spiritually, mentally, physically, you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think those are important things.
Yeah. And like for me, it's like, I bring up the food thing, and it's not because I would be like, oh, look at me, look what I did. No, like there are some things that are just so big you should go for it. And I think food is one of them. Like people have no idea how revolutionary that can be for them is eating better.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, man, really.
and there's so many things like that we could talk about. But yeah, man, this is fun. I appreciate your time. It's always good to talk to you, man. We'll see how.
For sure.
I mean, this was an interesting show. We went.
Yeah, we went
I didn't know
south, north, east, and west. So
Yeah.
all in the same night.
Yeah. Cool. All right, man. Well, tell everybody where they could find you.
Yeah, man, I'm over at the Daily Dissident, wherever you get your podcasts. I actually got some new news coming out, Tim. I have created a shirt. I'm ordered a sample of it. So I think people are really going to like it. I got some really fun ad creatives around it that I've been working on. So, yeah, so I'll be getting that set up soon. I haven't announced it yet on my podcast actually, but I will be soon. So yeah, looking forward to that. I think I got some really good ideas to kind of, I don't know. I'm trying to change some minds of some people. You know what I mean? I think art's one way to do it. So trying to hone more into that this year too. So yeah, man. Looking forward to it, man.
Awesome, man. Can't wait to see the shirt. I'm going to have to get one of those shirts. So yeah, everybody be on the lookout for that. I'll have Landon's links below. As always, break the mold, conquer the realm. Thanks for listening.